Okay, Jamie, we're live.
Yay.
Yay, I'm excited. So we're live in Intuitive Daughters of God and also my YouTube channel, The Underestimated Warrior Show, as well as one other place on Facebook, my business page. So hello and welcome to everybody who is watching live. Oh yeah, there we go. We start seeing some people come in. So hello. And want to welcome everyone as they're coming on, and also ask you to go ahead and tag a friend. Let them know we're on here. Our series in the Underestimated Warrior Show is Emerge. And so today I have Jamee Shermer, who I will introduce more thoroughly in just a minute. But Jamie is going to share with us how she got her voice back. And I'm really excited about this. I feel like this is a super important subject, especially because in Intuitive Daughters of God, we do have, in the world, let's say, there are about 50% introverts in the world, right? And so sometimes when it comes to releasing your voice, we do think about those who are introverted having more challenges associated with releasing your voice. So I'm just really excited to bring this subject because I think we may even weigh out a little bit heavier in our group, people who would consider themselves introverts versus extroverts. I'm pretty close to 50-50 myself. Most people don't actually know this about me, but I am 52% extroverted and 48% introverted.
Wow, you're right on that line.
I am. So what I like to say is that I love that I can really relate to both. I can really relate to the extrovert who gets energized by being in a group, but I can really relate to the introvert who has to have downtime in order to recharge and to be available to people. So yes. I think that has served me well to be able to relate to both. Okay, I have now got us pinned. So we are up at the top of the group now. Awesome. All right. Well, everybody, I want to introduce Jamie to you. So Jamee Shermer is the founder of the Favor Finder. She is a certified prophetic heart healer and a certified advanced grief recovery method specialist. Jamie is also a heart healing advisor for the Armory. And what I am not doing is reading your full bio, but I love how you express so much of it. And I want to read this part. Jamie comes alive in her deeper purpose by helping others foster their connection with God in their heart healing journey. And that so describes you to me, Jamie. I just love it. I do want to share. Is it okay if I share with everybody how we first got connected?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
I love this story.
I do too. So Jamie and we had been in a challenge together that Oscar West ran, and Jamie at the time, Oscar actually brought you on as a heart healing advisor of sorts for the challenge itself. And so you were a special speaker on there. And just before that, or maybe even during it, I had hired Sandy Gledhill, for those of you who know Sandy, to coach me. And one of the things she did as we were walking through things is, I was like, I'm so passionate about heart healing. I'm a heart healing minister, which I am. But then I'm like telling her all this other stuff that I'm doing and developing. And she's like, Nanette, what is it you actually want to do? Because you have your hands in so many things. If you do everything you're talking about, like, you're not going to be able to do it as one person. You're going to have to pick something, go all in on that. And so basically it boiled down to, she was like, you need to outsource your heart healing. And I was like, what? I can't do that, because it's something like you have to really know and trust somebody on a personal level.
Yeah.
to refer everybody you know to them, you know? And so I was like, I know people who do heart healing and who even do it online now, but there wasn't anybody I felt a personal connection and trust with. So when you and I connected on that challenge, I began to see those pieces come together. And even though we hadn't really known each other before, I'm like, I think Jamie might be somebody I could team up with in this way. And so, long story short, I brought you in, I think, for a challenge. And then we
Mhm.
went from there. And you are now a regular advisor um, in the Armory, which is the mentoring program that we run through IDG. And I just love having you in there as a regular trainer, regular advisor. So, anyway, welcome. I've talked a ton already. So,
I love being an advisor. It's such a privilege. I just love it.
and it is the testimonials that we get when somebody does a session with you. And I mean, it's so impactful. You're somebody who really has a way of helping people to navigate through the really hard stuff.
Mm.
And even like, I happen to know that you've worked with people who have like missing chunks of memory and just like, things that make it particularly challenging. But then they're like, and Jamie helped me.
I'm so glad.
I know it's so great, so exciting. So what we want to talk about today though is how you got your voice back, which of course implies that
Mhm.
you felt voiceless.
Yeah.
Would you tell us a little bit about where you were in that
Mhm.
space of feeling voiceless?
Yeah, so when I was thinking about this and preparing, I realized that I felt voiceless starting as a young child even. So, my sister used to answer questions for me. I don't have memory of this, but my parents, my mom said that they'd ask a question and she'd answer for me.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
"Wow." So it really kind of started back then, and it wasn't intentional. It was just like
Mhm.
she just did that. And then when I was in middle school, I wanted to be with a popular group of kids, and this one girl was like, "Stop following us. Stop trying to be our friends." And
Oh,
that really impacted me as a preteen, um, and made me feel like what I had to say or that I didn't matter.
yeah.
And then when I was a teenager, later teen, I started trying to push to get my voice, and I would kind of got a little fighty with my mom at that age, around 15. And then as I got older, I kind of gained more confidence. And then really, I feel like I started to get my voice when I went to undergrad and grad school. I
Mm.
didn't go to school. I went to community college, took a long break, and then I felt called to go back to school in my late 20s. And so, really, in grad school is kind of where I got my voice. And then, after my husband and I got married, we went through a prolonged period of stress. And interesting, like enough, I felt like I lost my voice again.
Hmm.
And then just I would say in the last few years is when like the Lord has really even more like than before, like I got my voice back and then some in the
Right.
last few years.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. So, let's talk a little bit about what it's like to be an introvert and to already, would it be safe to say you felt a little bit tentative about like when you would speak up?
Yeah.
Just without any of the trauma or any of that stuff,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
even as a young child, I considered myself shy, and I did for a long time. I consider it, I wouldn't consider myself shy. I don't like that terminology now. But I definitely consider myself very shy, and I would be afraid to speak up in groups or speak up with people. Excuse me. And yeah, I took on like this identity of timidity.
Mm.
Like I saw shyness as like as it kind of was like I became timid, and
Mm.
that's not a fruit of the spirit.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that really quickly though, because sometimes people think it is.
Yeah.
You know? So, when it comes to being shy, I know that I have definitely heard the connection, just even in somebody's tone when they say, "Well, I'm shy," or even like
Okay.
I'll see a comment on Facebook and like I'm a really shy person. Here's the thing, like being quiet, being introverted, being like having a rich inner life, needing to withdraw and recharge, all of that, like God made you that way. If you're like that,
Yeah.
God made you that way. But there's something about an identity
Hmm.
of being shy that as an intuitive person, when I hear that, I sense that there is something that's a little bit off about that when you accept it as your identity. Can you, from that standpoint of being a primary, like, being an introvert, having taken on that shyness and then that kind of resulted in a timidity, can you talk about maybe why you feel like it might not be a good idea to identify as being shy? I know you no longer
Hmm.
do.
Hmm. Yeah, because I feel like that spirit of shyness, timidity, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
it is like I feel like it's based in fear.
Mm.
It's based in not speaking up when you need to speak up,
Mhm.
not interjecting and offering what you have to offer, because everyone's voice is important. And
Mm.
if you don't see that your voice is important, then you can just hide. It becomes a hiding. I used to call myself the mouse in the corner. I would
Mm.
sit in a corner in a social situation and I would let people come to me. And then in grad school, that I become aware of that. And I was like, why do I do this?
Mm.
I don't want to I don't want to identify as the mouse in the corner that doesn't speak, and that I, don't actually branch out and engage people.
The mouse in the corner. So right now I'm looking at a flying, soaring eagle right behind you. And I'm thinking, it's quite a different animal to associate with.
Yes, it is.
Can you talk a little bit about your progression from the mouse in the corner to the soaring eagle?
Yeah, so definitely I feel like valuing my own voice was a part of that. And that's been a journey. So like I feel like through my own, like I started with counseling because I feel like that really helped me. And I had a really great counselor when I was in grad school. And she kind of helped me unpack some of that and unpack like, well, what if you actually like be the one that reaches out and engages people? Oh, that's a new idea. And so she kind of challenged that for me. That's kind of where it started. And then, I became aware as just like when later on, like when I had prolonged stress, like I felt diminished. My identity, I felt diminished in my identity. And I
Mm.
stopped valuing my voice. And then when I started going through my own heart healing, that really opened up a lot for me. Like I was able to hear from the Lord about who I am,
Mm.
that I have a voice and that I have queenly qualities. So we're talking about queen.
Yes. Would you
And okay.
Would you well, I was just wondering, is there a particular moment or an encounter or something that you would share with us that highlights that change or that revelation for you?
Yeah. So I remember two actually heart healing sessions. One where I was just listening to a recording of someone facilitating a session. And then another one where it was like one-on-one with someone or with people. And the first one was I heard the Lord call me regal. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, what's so interesting about that is that just like a week ago, I was at a prophetic conference and someone actually said those words, and it just like hit
Wow.
my spirit. Like, yeah, so that
And
was
that's not a common term. Like, we
no,
don't use the word regal a whole lot. So
no.
you pay attention when it's like, that would be one that I would be looking up like, wait, what? Like, I know it has to do with royalty.
Mhm.
What exactly does that mean?
Yes. And then in another heart healing session, when I was doing it with someone, um, I the Lord was showing me like me in queenly regalia with
Mm,
a crown and a
mm,
scepter and a robe and the whole thing. And he was taking my hand. He was beside me, taking my hand and leading me
mm.
in my regalia. And
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. And this was actually not long. I think this might have been right before I was in your challenge that I had that experience.
Awesome.
Because I was feeling nervous about being, in your challenge and like, this is new for me, and all that. And the Lord's like, no, I'm taking your hand and we're moving forward with this.
That's so good. And I at this point, I have seen you in an actual crown.
Yes.
I know, I love that. Oh, that's amazing. And would the mouse in the corner you have worn a crown on screen?
Only if she was like, pushed to, like, oh, you need to wear a crown, like if somebody, but it wouldn't have been an identity, like putting on the
Yeah,
crown of as an identity. Definitely not.
yeah. I want to back up just a little bit,
Hmm.
and I want to make a really quick like, let's put a what if. What if somebody doesn't know what heart healing is and
Hmm.
is he I'm sitting here thinking like, someone who doesn't know what heart healing is just heard about this encounter you had with a crown and with a robe and with
Hmm.
Jesus and all of that stuff, and they're like, "Wait a second,
What is that?
that heart healing was like, I thought that was like counseling." So, can you share just briefly what heart healing is and what a session might entail, just the concept of it?
Yeah. So the simple way I describe heart healing is I help people hear from God for themselves. And basically, everybody experiences God in different ways. So some of us hear his voice internally. We see vision, like see mental pictures. Some of us get a feeling. Some of us sense, we just like sense the room. And like, because it's all, the five senses. Some people even smell things, and some people even, like taste things.
Yeah.
And so the Lord uses all of our five senses to speak to us. And one of the ways that I hear the Lord is through nature, and have for years, and didn't realize that that's what it was. Like that was actually the Lord speaking to me. And so really I just kind of help people kind of almost like unlock that if
Mhm.
they haven't already unlocked it, and help them to hear the Lord's voice in their own intimate way, how he speaks to them in their own special and intimate way.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I think that another thing that's really interesting for me is the connection between unlocking the hearing. And then, even as you were talking about in your story, when you went through heart healing and you began to hear from God, then that eventually translated into your voice being released,
Yeah. Yeah,
which
definitely.
is super interesting.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Do you want to add anything about
Yeah.
that?
So the other piece of that is, so I started actually with grief recovery, which is now
Mm,
I'm advanced grief recovery. So I actually started there around the same time I started with heart healing. And grief recovery like helped me to let go of some of the pain that I had been carrying.
yeah.
And then it was like I was able to release, and then the Lord was able to kind of bring in the healing through the heart healing, if that makes any
Mm,
sense.
yeah. Definitely. And I love that the very areas that you have received healing are also what you are now really walking in authority and walking with your own set of keys that you get to hand out to people as they, as they come and say, "Hey, will you help me with this next leg of my journey?"
I also want to add too, Nanette, that my journey with you has actually been also a part of my healing with this, because you valuing my voice and giving me a voice
Oh,
in your world, really, it helped like build my confidence and made me like realize my voice matters.
oh,
And
that's so
so I
good.
just wanted you to know that too. Like you have been a part of that journey for me.
That makes my heart happy, like completely fills my cup because um yeah, I mean, you are somebody who, um, when you speak, the wisdom that comes out of your mouth is just like, ah,
Oh.
that's so good. So, like, every time you do a training, it's interesting because you'll, you're like, I have 20 minutes. I will show up and I'll be like, it's going to be 30 and then it becomes 40, right? But you're like, no, I have 20 minutes, but every single thing you say is thoughtful, is prepared, is laced with wisdom. And it's almost like you're getting the pre-filled, like the pre-reduced, most high impact words
Oh.
because they've been like honed already. And so by the time it comes out of your mouth, it's like, that voice of wisdom.
Oh.
And not to mention the fact that the the gentleness and the kindness and the heart that you lead with is so inviting.
Oh, thank you for that. Yes, I appreciate that.
Well, and it's one of the reasons. So when you having a one-on-one heart healing session is one of the bravest things that you will ever do
Hmm.
because it's one of the most vulnerable
Hmm.
places. I mean, you literally, it's here's my heart, you know. And Jamie, you are somebody who is such a safe person, but you're also so tuned in that it's not just about being safe, even though that is a huge part of it. But you have a way of creating an atmosphere, or in co-creating with Holy Spirit an atmosphere that really does open doors and lead people through. I mean, I can't begin to describe, the different testimonies that the ladies in the Armory have talked about, or those who have had sessions with you. So I'm actually going to share with everybody how to get in contact with Jamie. Jamie, will you, we'll close in a minute with belly laugh and a blessing. Okay.
Okay.
But will you share with us, here, I'm going to put your website up.
Hmm.
And then also, will you share a couple of classes you have coming up? So the
Okay.
website is thefavorfinder.com. You can book a heart healing session with Jamie on there directly. So you
Hmm.
just go on that page, and I think on your phone you just scroll down a tiny bit and it's right there.
Yeah.
There's a calendar you can book with her, and then tell us about your classes.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I was going to say, Nana, before I get into my
Ah,
classes, when you were talking about me honing in and having that time, and I just kind of, I think that's part of, I was just, as you were talking, I was like, I think that's part of like being an introvert, is that
mhm.
I do all the thinking and processing before
before it comes out.
Before it comes out. So I think that's where, so all the introverts out there, that's one of our gifts.
It is. It's one of your gifts is people pay attention when you say something, which lends itself to impact with your voice. And actually, I mean, since we're right here, I want to say, do you have any final words for someone who does consider themselves an introvert, or maybe they don't even, but somewhere along the way, their voice got shut down?
Yeah. I would say, okay.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, what would you offer them for advice or recommendation?
I would say what has helped me to get my voice out and not just get, because everybody could just get their voice out there, but to get your voice heard and valued is by taking those risks, taking those steps of like those kind of scary steps and doing something new, or talking to that, even if it's just like you're in a social situation and just like you kind of want to go talk to that person, and maybe they're like a leader and you're a little nervous about it, just taking that step and taking action, because the more you do it, the easier it gets. The more brave steps that you take, you become more brave.
Yeah, that's so good. And brave steps don't have to be perfect steps. They can be imperfect, incremental changes, right? That are just heading in a direction, the emerging direction.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Oh, so my classes. So in my next class for grief recovery, so this is helping children with loss, and it's really teaching adults, parents, anyone that works with kids on how to help children with loss. So I'm teaching the caregivers how to walk with children through not just loss, but any transition or big change in a child's life, because children process grief and loss and change differently, and similarly as adults, but it looks a little different.
Yeah.
And so I'm equipping and giving adults tools on how to work with children. So my next class is, I'm going to double check my calendar.
Now, by adults, parents, grandparents, teachers, a caring neighbor. I don't know how to say it. Like, if there's somebody in your life that maybe you're a Sunday school teacher and you have some kids who have gone through some things recently or are in transition, or you just want to be better prepared, that kind of thing, right?
Yes, absolutely. So both classes are actually going to be online, so anybody can join from anywhere. And so the next one is going to start on July 26th, which is Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And it's a 4-week class. So just four sessions once a week for 4 weeks. And then you walk away with some tools to help children. And then the next one after that, in case that time isn't work for people, the next one will be September 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And that's also going to be online as well. And those will be on the link that you're going to post.
Yes. And I will. I'm going to post a direct link. I'm going to add a direct link to this post. Let me rephrase that. And you said that if they go to the favorfinder.com, they can find it. Maybe is it under an events tab or something?
Yeah. If you go under the tab for grief recovery method, and then I think it's the button that says ask more, find me, or whatever the little button is.
Okay, we'll post the direct link. Awesome. All right. So thank you so much for coming on. I'm excited about your classes. And let's close out with belly laugh and a blessing. Okay. So first question, what made you belly laugh this week?
So actually, I was just thinking about this. So last night, so we're dog sitting this little dog, and she's a Chihuahua, and I don't like Chihuahuas. Shh, don't tell me.
I don't
Sorry
know.
for anybody who does like Chihuahuas. It's all good. But she is the coolest Chihuahua ever. Like, she's super chill and super sweet. So she was like, and she just likes being close to me, probably because my son's like,
Yeah, that's funny.
and so she was sitting like in my arm, and she was leaning back in my arm like a baby, and just like, and you could kind of see her little teeth. It looks like she was smiling. And she was like, and I just started laughing. She just
You're
like a
like
little
cuddling
person.
this chihuahua who's like, oh, that's hilarious. I love it. The smiling chihuahua.
I should have got a picture.
Oh, that's so fun. Thank you for joining us today. This has been so much fun. Would you bless just everybody watching now, watching on replay with the releasing of their voice? Maybe just hand some keys out while you're at it.
Oh, I can literally hold my key.
Awesome. Yay.
So here's my key.
I love that.
So
Awesome.
I am handing out, I'm going to put up here, close to the camera so everybody can see it. I'm giving you those keys to unlock your voice. If it's been locked, this is the key for you to unlock your voice. And maybe it's in a new way. Maybe it's been dormant, and maybe you're trying to take steps forward and you're afraid to. You have the keys. You have the keys to unlock. And I just bless every person on this call that they would know how valuable their voice is, that they have important things and amazing things to share with the world. And so I just bless each and everyone's voice. Lift up your voice.
Yes.
And you are known. You are known.
Wow. Wow. My feet are tickling. My feet always tingle when there's territory being taken. I'm not the only one who received that key. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. So look Jamie up. She has more keys on thefavorfinder.com. Hi, Liz. Liz received it in Jesus' name. Great to see you on here, Liz, and everybody else who's watching. You guys are amazing. And find Jamie on thefavorfinder.com. And the last thing I just want to share is I have a free training for you on partnering with Spirit-Led Intuition. That is at intuitivedaughtersofgod.com/gift. Thank you for joining me, my friend. This has been amazing. I love that blessing.
What's that?
I love that blessing, especially with your key in your hand, girl.
It's so funny. I love that you brought up the key, because I just put this up just like a few days ago.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. So now I see you doing this more. I do. I see you pulling that key off and blessing people with their voice being released or whatever it is that they need in that moment. And that is their key. Oh, so good.
Love it.
Love it. All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
All right. See you next time.